ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهله يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخنا على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يأكلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يروا الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال ما يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي ينشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم فالله وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون. سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
Surah Yasin and Surah Fatiha is requested for the following marhumins: Marhum Fayaz Altaf Ballu, Marhum Mujtaba Shabir Ballu, Marhum Muhammad Saleh Ballu, Marhum Muhammad Ali Fazal, Marhum Chagani, Marhum Ibrahim, Marhum Sajjad Muhammad Haji, Marhum Askar Ali Hassan Ali, Marhuma Nurun Nisa Manik, Marhum Muhammad Hussein Ali Kaku and family, Marhuma Fatma Bai, Muhammad Hussein Ali Kaku, Marhumins of Ali Kaku family, Marhumins of Bandali Banji family, Marhumin of Muhammad Ali Rajbali Alidina, Marhumins of Mullah Hassan Ali Kaki family, Marhumins of Akbar Fazal Alidina family, Marhumins of Haji Kimji family, Marhumins of Hassan Ali Ladak family, and Kul Arwahul Mu'minin wal Mu'minat. Suratul Barakatul Fatiha. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أزاله كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك الإسام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبت وكل خطيئة أخطأتها اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك واستشفي بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن تؤذعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني باسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعزم فيما عندك رغبته اللهم أزم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لكبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من أملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترت وكم من فاده من البلاء يكلت وكم من إسار وكيت وكم من مكروه دفعت وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرت اللهم أزم بلائي وأفرت بي سوء حالي وكسرت بي أعمالي وكأدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفع بعد أعمالي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك الدعاء سوء عملي وفي آلي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما طلعت عليه من سري ولا تؤاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي وقل اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور أطوفا إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترز فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك الكذا فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك، وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك، وقد آتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستكيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا مؤترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفضاه، أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في ساعة من رحمتك، اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة الضر، وفكني من شدي وساكي، يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني وركة جلدي ودكة عزمي، يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، حبني لاعتداء كرمك وسالفي برك بي، يا إلهي والسيدي وربي، أتراك مؤذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهجابه لساني من ذكرك، واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك، هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تزيئ من ربيت، أو تبعد من أدنيت، أو تشرد من آويت، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته، وليت شئري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة، وبشكرك مادحة، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى زمائر هوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارها ساءت إلى أوطان التعبدك طاية، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة، ما هكذا ظنوا بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم، يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكسوه يسير بكاؤه كثير مدة، فكيف احتمال لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض، يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين، يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها زج وأبكي لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته، فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ورب، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاي يفوق، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناتكا لازجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين، ولا أصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولا أبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولا أنادينك إن كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفتي وذاك طعم عذابها بمعصيتي وحبس بين أتباكها بجرمي وجريرته وهو يزيج إليك زجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبكى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك أم كيف تعلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يهركه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه أم كيف يتكلكل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقا أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتكه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك ظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأن تجلى ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي والسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالكزية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمت وكل ذنب أذنبت وكل كبيه أسررت وكل جهل عملت كتمته أو أعلنت أغفيته أو أظهرت وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظه ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي ما جواري وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أغفيت وبفضلك سترت وأن توفر هذه من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ركي يا من بيده ناصيتي يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك مأمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمال عندك مقبولة حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه مؤولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قوي على خدمتك جواره، واشدد على الأزيمة جوانه، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك، والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرى إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسري إليك في البارزين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك، وأتف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، واكلني أسرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بإبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة، فإليك يا ربي نسبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني منايا، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي، يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء، يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من راس ماله الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء، يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النكم، يا نور المستوغشين في الظلم، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بي ما أنت أهل، وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله، وسلم تسليما كثيرا. التماس دعاء. سورة الباركة الفاتحة. قل الله.
پر محمد وآل محمد صلوات. आशूर का सूरज है, कयामत की गरी है, भाई का गला कट था, बहन देख रही है, मकतल में किसी माँ की सदा गूंज रही है, आए मेरे हुसैन मेरी गोद में आजा मेरे बच्चे मेरी होश में आजा, मेरे लिए ए लाल तू असगर की तरह है, गोदी मेरी गहवार आहे बिस्तर की तरह है, इस धूप में दामन मेरा चादर की तरह है। आए मेरे हुसैन मेरी गोद में आजा, आजा मेरे बच्चे मेरी आगोश में आजा। मैं माँ हूँ मेरा दिल नहीं सीने में संभलता, नाजुक ये बदन तेरा ये जलता हुआ सेहरा, और इस में सितम ये ना के तू रहे गया प्यासा। आए मेरे हुसैन मेरी गोद में आजा, आजा मेरे बच्चे मेरी आगोश में आजा। मैं गोद में ले लूं तुझे सीने से लगा लूं, सीने पे सकीना की तरह तुझको सुला लूं, सीने में तेरे तीर में पलकों से निकालूं। आए मेरे हुसैन मेरी गोद में आजा, आजा मेरे बच्चे मेरी आगोश में आजा। तू लेट गया थक के तुलसी जलती जमी पर, ये किस का लहू तूने मला रूहे हंसी पर, मत खाक पे सोलाल तेरी माँ है यहीं पर। आए मेरे हुसैन मेरी गोद में आजा, आजा मेरे बच्चे मेरी आगोश में आजा। जो दिल पे तेरे गुजरी मैं सब देख रही थी, हर लाश उठाने में तेरे साथ गई थी, अब बात वो कहती तू जो बचपन में कही थी। आए मेरे हुसैन मेरी गोद में आजा, आजा मेरे बच्चे मेरी आगोश में आजा, आजा मेरे बच्चे मेरी आगोश में आजा। पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु सूरत अल-फातिहा।
Let us all please recite Surah Amu Jebu for the safety and victory of all our brothers and sisters around the world, for the safety of our holy shrine, for the quick reappearance of Imam Sahib Zaman alayhi salam, for shafa of Shu'aib Taki, and for shafa of all the Mariz. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَا وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَا وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا ويكشف السوء. اللهم صل على.
Respected elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. Just very quickly, after the ziyarat this evening, Said has offered to do a brief Q&A. So all the ladies can come here to the main hall, the men's hall, and we can just gather. For those who will be here, we're going to do a Q&A program after ziyarat this evening.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى آل بيتك المظلومين الغر الميامين روحي وأرواح العالمين لكم الفداء. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. For the hastening of the reappearance of the Master, the Mawla, the Savior, Al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan al-Askari, recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, elders, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thursday night, a night to reflect and remember the awaited Savior, the spring of humanity. In one of the visitations of Imam al-Zaman, we say, Assalamu alayka ya Rabi' al-Anam. If humanity has gone through difficult stages throughout its history, through winter and fall and summer, but there is going to be a spring. There is going to be a time when humanity flourishes and reaches its true potential. And it's a night to reflect on that, to think about how we are able to connect with that Imam. Because in connecting with him, we achieve our own true potential. We achieve our own little spring. And because of that, I'd like to start off with a hadith. The hadith is narrated by our sixth Imam, Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad as-Sadiq, alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And in that hadith, the Imam gives us hope for what is to come, and then sets out to provide a guideline as to what we must do in order for that connection to happen. He says, Inna lana dawlatan. We will get our chance. Our opportunity to fulfill God's word and promise will come. يَجِيءُ بِهَا اللَّهُ مَتَى مَا شَاءَ. God will bring about that opportunity when He sees it to be appropriate, when He deems fit. إِنَّ لَنَا دَوْلَةً يَجِيءُ بِهَا اللَّهُ مَتَى مَا شَاءَ. Then the Imam says, فَمَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يَكُونَ. Whoever wishes to be with the Imam. And he mentions the special title of the Imam, for which we are required to stand up, and I won't mention it. He says, whoever wishes to be with him, فَلْيَنْتَظِرْ. The first thing he must do, or she, is to be in a state of anticipation, a state of awaiting the reappearance of the Imam. فَلْيَنْتَظِرْ, number one. وَلْيَعْمَلْ. In other words, it's not just to passively wait, but rather there is an active component. وَلْيَعْمَلْ بِالْوَرَعِ وَمَحَاسِنِ الْأَخْلَاقِ. He or she must exhibit the utmost reflection of piety, to not engage in acts of sin and transgression, number one. But that's only the first step. The second step in the active component is makarim al-akhlaq, that you do not suffice only with being pious, being a person. In other words, in society today, you have those who are good, upstanding citizens, which means that they don't commit crimes, which is great. But that's only a very basic definition of what it means to be a citizen. A true citizen, one who is praiseworthy, one who receives awards as the citizen of the year perhaps, or gets medals of honor, is one who does more than just the bare minimum, who isn't happy with basic mediocrity, so to speak. فَلْيَعْمَلْ بِالْوَرَعِ, to be pious, do not commit sins, وَمَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ, and exhibit the highest and most perfect morals, to be a true ambassador to your faith and to your religion. This is also critical. Then the Imam adds another caveat at the end. He says, وَهُوَ مُنْتَظِرٌ. Don't forget that you're in anticipation. Don't forget that you are in a state awaiting the return of the Imam, which means that you try and control your actions. You try and seek guidance from the scholars. You try and live in such a manner so as to await the return of the Imam, await the spring of humanity without you taking matters into your own hands. Because, and what's interesting is that towards the end of the hadith, the Imam then says, if you do these things, then you will be with him. And if it happens that you die prior to the Imam reappearing, فَلَهُ أَجْرُ مَنْ لَقِيَهُ, you will receive the same reward as the one who in fact waits for the Imam and meets him and joins his mission and helps him fulfill his promise. If you happen to die with these conditions, then you have nothing to worry about. You will receive the same rewards as those who will defend the Imam and his cause. Then the Imam says, هَنِيئًا لَكُمْ أَيَّتُهَا الْعِصَابَةُ الْمَرْحُومَةُ. Blessed are you. Congratulations to you. In Arabic, if you want to say congratulations to someone, you say هَنِيئًا لَكَ. Colloquially, they say هَنِيًّا لَكَ, which means congratulations, felicitations, good for you. The Imam says, good for you, O group that has received and is the recipient of God's mercy. Allah has bestowed His mercy upon you by connecting you with His vicegerents, by linking you to the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt, to God's representatives on earth, starting from Prophet Adam and ending with the 12th Imam, Al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan al-Mahdi, fidahu arwahul alameen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Now, what does all this mean? What it means, brothers and sisters, is that we all know Imam al-Hussein is called Safinatul Najat. Inna al-Hussein, the Holy Messenger of Allah, narrates this hadith. He says, when I ascended to the seventh heaven, رَأَيْتُ مَكْتُوبًا عَلَى سَاقِ الْعَرْشِ. If you can imagine God's throne on one of the pillars of the divine throne of God, there is an inscription. And the inscription simply states, إِنَّ الْحُسَيْنِ مِصْبَاحُ هُدًى وَسَفِينَةُ نَجَاةٍ. Hussein is a lantern of guidance and an ark of salvation. And so, over the last 2 weeks or so, you have put together what can only be described as the miracle of Zainab alayhi salam, the miracle of Imam al-Sajjad, the miracle of Imam al-Hussein, that even after 14 centuries, these gatherings are held with ever greater excitement and enthusiasm and passion for Imam al-Hussein. These gatherings, which are only growing bigger and more diverse in multiple languages. These gatherings, which have now enveloped the entire planet. You have participated in these gatherings. You have mourned the greatest tragedy of all. You've cried for Imam al-Hussein. You've connected yourself. This little boat of yours is now hopefully connected to the ark of salvation. But while Imam al-Hussein's ark is spacious enough and big enough to accommodate everyone, and it certainly does, there has to be a greater effort on our part. There has to be something more than just attending the majalis, as great and as blessed as those majalis are. Right? The Imams have constantly praised the fact that the Shia would gather around and they would remind each other of the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt as well as the tragedies of the Imams. So these are great, but that's only the first step. That's the launch pad, right? You have the launch pad, and then the idea is to launch this rocket so that it reaches a destination. Imam al-Hussein is the ultimate launch pad. He's also the ultimate destination. But in order to be in that orbit, in order to connect with him and to stay with him, there has to be a greater effort. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. And if you do excuse me, I'll mention some names which might be a little confusing. You might not have been familiar with those names, but do bear with me. The idea is quite simple, even if the names are difficult to memorize. You see, Imam al-Hussein was very careful in how he vetted his companions, going as far as to turning the lanterns and the lights off on the eve of Ashura, then telling his companions, إن هذا الليل قد غشيكم فاتخذوه جملا. This night is now so dark that you can use it to escape. You can run, you can save yourselves. Then he turned off those lanterns so that if anybody felt embarrassed, wouldn't do so anymore, because they can make a run for it without ever having to face Imam al-Hussein and feel embarrassed about it. The Imam gave them every chance, every opportunity to save themselves. From the very beginning, the Imam made his mission crystal clear. The Imam said, خط الموت. This is the sermon of Imam al-Hussein as he was about to leave Mecca, before he left Mecca. خط الموت على ولد آدم مخط القلادة على جيد الفتاة. Death surrounds the children of Adam the way a necklace surrounds the neck of a young girl. وما أولهني إلى أسلافي اشتياق يعقوب إلى يوسف. Then the Imam said, ألا من كان باذلا فينا مهجته وموطنا على لقاء الله نفسه فليرحل معنا فإني راحل مصبحا إن شاء الله. He says, whoever, now that you know death is a certainty, now that you realize what you're getting into, now whoever wants to give his blood in our cause and has made his soul ready for meeting God, then they should pack up, because I'm about to leave. I will be leaving tomorrow morning. Which, by the way, there are some incredible, nuanced subtleties in every word of Imam al-Hussein. He says, are you willing to give your blood in our way? Number one. In other words, you have to be willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. When you join this mission, when you board this ark, it's not going to be hunky-dory. It's going to be a rough ride, so you better buckle up. This is going to be tough. This is going to be difficult. A man came to the commander of the faithful. He said to him, I love you. So the Imam said to him, if that's the case, then be ready for affliction. Be ready to face poverty. Be ready to say no to money that is unclean. which means that you'll end up with less money naturally, right? Be ready for tribulation. Be ready for being tested. So the Imam says, number one, get ready for the ultimate sacrifice. Number two, وَمُوَطِّنًا عَلَى لِقَاءِ اللَّهِ نَفْسَهُ. Have you trained yourself for the day you meet God? Do you have the courage for that? Or is this just an exciting sort of opportunity, an adventure? You think this is some kind of an adventure? It's not. You'll be meeting God himself. So the Imam ensured that from the very beginning, they all knew that what they were getting into was nothing short of death. And in the end, the Imam was filtering through them. He was vetting every single one of them. He would speak to them in public. Then he would drag one of them to the side and then speak to him in private and give him yet another opportunity to leave. So the vetting process was incredible. And the reason for that, again, is that if you're going to be a Husayni, and that is our objective, inshallah, by being and attending these majalis, the objective is for us not just to be on the sidelines, not just for us to be somewhere at the lowest level of paradise, but to be all the way up there in the presence of the Mawla himself, Sayyidu Shabab, Ahl al-Jannah. You want to be at the VIP lounge right there next to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. You don't want to be someone who ultimately goes to paradise, but God forbid never gets to see the luminous face of the Imam. So that means that certain commitments have to be made. Sacrifices will have to be made. But the sacrifices will be mitigated by the fact that God helps you. Right? You see people going through painful episodes in their lives. And yet they're able to weather the storm. They're able to somehow withstand the difficulties involved. They're able to somehow cruise through those trials and tribulations without a scratch. And the reason that happens, even though you think to yourself, if I were in their shoes, I would die right there and then. I couldn't do it. But the fact is that Allah gives you the trial. And if you're worthy, if you've made those commitments, He will give you the capacity to withstand those trials. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the courage to be able to pass the test with flying colors, as they say. So, in order to get there, you need to make a set of solid commitments. You need to make a covenant between you and Imam al-Hussein. And the covenant has to be genuine. It has to be real. So, I want to mention a couple of examples of people who missed out on the incredible opportunity to be amongst the companions of Imam al-Hussein. The same companions that our sixth Imam teaches us that when you go to their shrines, the Imam addresses them, the Imam himself addresses the companions of Imam al-Hussein, from Aslam the Turkish slave, to John the black slave of Abu Dhar, to the noble, to the peasant, to everyone in between. Imam al-Sadiq addresses them by saying this, بِأَبِي أَنْتُمْ وَأُمِّي. May my father and my mother be ransomed for you, be sacrificed for you. Allahu Akbar. Imam al-Sadiq says to them, Assalamu alaikum, ya ahabba Allah. Who is Habibullah? Habibullah is the holy messenger of mercy, Rasul al-Rahmati, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And yet this title is also awarded to the companions of Imam al-Hussein. It's no joke. Now, there were people who missed out on this opportunity. Not necessarily because they were bad people, but because they weren't able to make that commitment. They were good people, I'm sure much better than I am, but they weren't able to make that solid vow of servitude to the Imam. And so they slipped. At the very last second, they slipped. Again, bear with me as far as the names are concerned. One of them is Ad-Dahhak al-Mashriqi. This is the same person who is quoted extensively by Lut ibn Yahya ibn Abi Mikhnaf the author of the first maqtal, the first historical account of Ashura, was this man. It was a historian. He wasn't necessarily someone who you would consider to be a Shia or a Sunni. He was just a historian, professional doing his job. He quotes Al-Dhahak al-Mashriqi on a number of occasions. For example, the number 72, which is in reference to the companions of Imam al-Hussein, is an inaccurate number. The actual number of the companions was more than 72. It was closer to 92, 93. Their names, in fact, are listed by Imam al-Zaman in what is known as Ziyaratul Nahiya al-Ma'rufa wal-Ghayr Ma'rufa. Imam al-Zaman actually lists their names. But Dhahak al-Mashriqi tells us that the number was 72. Why? He was one of the people who was with Imam al-Hussein all the way from Mecca to Kerbala. After the first ambush, remember when Umar ibn Sa'd proceeded, shot the first arrow, then told his cohorts, "Ishhadu li 'inda al-amir fa inni awwalu man rama." Bear witness in my favor with the Amir, meaning Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. Tell him that I was the first to shoot an arrow and start the war. Then the war started. They all began shooting arrows towards in the direction of Imam Hussein's camp. Soon after that, it was time for Salah. Now, the prayer of Imam al-Hussein is one that, in my sincere, humble, but honest opinion, requires an entire book to be written about it, requires a blockbuster movie to be produced about it. The prayer of Imam al-Hussein, which, by the way, only encompassed Salatul Dhuhr. They never let Imam al-Hussein finish his prayer on the day of Ashura. بأبي هو وأمي. He couldn't even pray Salatul Asr. Salatul Dhuhr, which was done qasr, 2 rak'ats. But those 2 rak'ats, they revived the legacy of every prophet and apostle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Incredible salah. What bravery, what chivalry. The companions who came and protected Imam al-Hussein. Allahu Akbar. But what happened was that because of the prayer, there was a skirmish, there was an ambush. And that initial attack, historians say, فَمَنْ جَلَتِ الْغَبْرَةِ, when the dust settled on the ground, 50 of Imam Hussein's companions had already been killed. That's more than half of his entire army. It's at that moment that Al-Dhahak al-Mashriqi comes to Imam al-Hussein. He says to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, we had a deal. What was the deal he had? He told Imam al-Hussein that, look, I'll come with you and I will fight in your way and defend your cause, but only as long as I know that you will survive. So he's a loyal companion by any account. But a loyal companion is not necessarily an obedient companion. He's not necessarily one willing to sacrifice himself for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. He says that if I can help save you, then I'll stay here and I'll die if that's what it takes. But if you're going to die anyway, then why should I waste my life? That was our deal. Imam al-Hussein said, yes, absolutely. He said, well, can I be excused? Because it doesn't look like you're going to survive. The Imam said, of course. Of course. How many times Imam al-Hussein vetted his companions? How many times have I told you you can leave? You are relieved, in fact, of my allegiance. The allegiance, the pledge that you made to me, you're relieved of it. Do you want more? The Imam said to him, of course you can go. But how will you go? There are no horses. How are you going to flee this battle scene? He said, no, I did keep a horse for myself in one of those tents. In other words, he always had an exit strategy. He always had a plan B. He always wasn't fully committed to the cause. And so he rides on his horse, runs back to save his life, and he becomes one of the people who narrates some of the stories of Ashura. So that's one example of Dhahak al-Mashriqi. Try and remember that name. The second example is At-Tarimmah ibn Adiyin al-Ta'i. Now, you might not recognize At-Tarimmah but you will recognize his brother and his grandfather. His brother's name was Hijr ibn Adi. Everyone recognizes Hijr. He was killed by Muawiyah and buried in Marj Adra on the outskirts of Damascus, along with 9 of his children. He was one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen and a companion of Imam al-Hassan and a companion of Imam al-Hussein, Hujr ibn Adi. His father was Adi al-Ta'i. His grandfather was Hatam al-Ta'i. You all recognize that name, famous for his generosity and whatnot, although he died as a disbeliever, which is why the Prophet said, لو كان أبوك, he told her, his daughter, Sufana, when she was captured in a battle, the Prophet let her go. He released her along with everyone, and then he gave her so much wealth and money that she says, my father's generosity is dwarfed by your generosity, Ya Rasulullah. The Prophet told her, لو كان أبوك مؤمنا لترحمنا عليه. If your father was a believer, we would have sent our blessings and our mercy to him, but he wasn't. He was a disbeliever. He rejected Prophet Isa alayhi salam, even though he should have been a Christian, technically speaking. So, At-Rimmah has that grandfather, that father who was a companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and that brother. He himself was an incredibly brave and courageous companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He wasn't a bad man at all. In fact, At-Rimmah was the person that Amir al-Mu'mineen would often send in the most critical missions to deliver messages to Muawiyah. And there is a beautiful story which tells his bravery and speaks about his courage when he went to Muawiyah and he mopped the floor with Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Great man by all accounts. But again, he was vetted and he missed out. He was essentially on his way back from Kufa when he met Imam al-Hussein as he was headed towards Kufa. When he saw the Imam, he asked the Imam, Ya ibn Rasulullah, where are you going? He said, I'm headed towards Kufa. I have a mission to fulfill. So he said to the Imam, but you have, what, 100 companions? A bunch of children and women? You want to stage a coup with this? What kind of an army is this? He said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, I have 20,000 armed soldiers waiting to lay their lives for you. But they're in Yemen, because they came from Yemen. He said, why are you headed towards Kufa? Kufans are known for their treachery, for their treason, for their backstabbing. There's no reason for you to go there and risk your life. Instead, change your course. Let's go together to Yemen and come back here with 20,000 troops. Now, that's a military strategy right there. The Imam said to him, I have a mission to fulfill. You don't understand everything that's happening here. Why don't you join me? He said, of course, Ya ibn Rasulullah. I would be honored to. If you want more soldiers to fight for you, let's go to Yemen. If you don't, I'm happy to join you. However, I've just come back from Kufa and I've bought a lot of produce, a lot of food and whatnot. Winter's coming. So let me just deliver this with my family and then I'll rush back and join you. The Imam said, what if you don't make it? He said, but I'll rush back. When he arrived in Kerbala, he heard the army of Yazid ibn Muawiyah saying, Allahu Akbar, laqad qatalna al-Husayn. Didn't make it. Missed out. And you see, brothers and sisters, that's the problem with us, and I'm talking primarily about myself. I know for a fact you are all better than me. But when we don't make a solid commitment, you miss out. Right? I was once waiting for a train. I don't know where I was going to, but it was one of those trains, and I arrived just after the train had left. So I had to wait another 30 minutes for the next one. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And of course, that's all I'm doing at the train station. When suddenly I get a phone call about 2 minutes before the train arrived. I get a phone call and I'm answering the call, speaking to, I don't know who it was. And then when I hung up the phone, I realized that the train came and went and I missed it. And now I have to wait another half an hour for the next one. That's how the mission of the 12th Imam occurs. As the Imam himself says in a letter to Shaykh al-Mufid, he says to him, فَلْيَعْمَلْ كُلُّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْكُمْ بِمَا يُقَرِّبُهُ مِنَّا. وَلْيَتَجَنَّبْ مَا يُبَعِّدُهُ عَنَّا. Each one of you has one job. One job. And I'm addressing especially the youth. Your job is to do that which you know brings you closer to the Imam of your time. Whether that be in your everyday life, your conduct with your parents, how you deal with your wife, your spouse, your children, which career path you take, which place you live, all of these things, how you interact with the rest of the community. Every step you take, you ask yourself, does this bring me closer to the Imam of my time, or does it distract me and push me away from the radius of the Imam of my time? Then the Imam says to Shaykh al-Mufid, he says, فَإِنَّ أَمْرَنَا بَغْتَةً, because when the time comes, it comes without notice. When the time comes for the Imam to reappear, there will be no warning, no preparation. The preparation you should have done earlier. It's like when sometimes the teacher says, we've got a test right now, drop everything you've got, here's the test. That's how it works. You don't get any warning, you don't get any time to prepare once the moment comes. So you don't want to be one of the people who misses out on the opportunity. So those are two examples on the negative side. Let me mention two examples on the positive side. One of them was from the tribe of Bani Asad. So he was an Asadi. Al-Mas'udi, Ibn Sa'd, has a book, not Umar ibn Sa'd, but a scholar from the Sunni sect. He has a book called Tabaqat ibn Sa'd. This book is about the companions of the Prophet and then those who came after the companions, what we call the tabi'een technically. And it describes them, it talks about them, it says who was a good person, who wasn't such a reliable person, and so on. In that book, he mentions a story. He says that there was a man called Al-Uryan who used to go out with his father to the desert. They'd go out there, hunting, expeditions, excursions, stuff like that. This man says that every time we'd pass through this area known as Nainawa, Kerbala, this was prior to Kerbala. He says every time we'd go there, we'd see a man who would be hanging around the area. So one day my father asked him, he said, what are you doing out here in the middle of the desert? There's nothing happening here. There is a river, of course, and there are some trees, palm trees and whatnot, but there's not much happening. There's no city, there's no village. And the man would say that I heard from the messenger of God. He was an elderly man. And the reason he's listed in this book is because he was a companion of Rasulullah. Because if you've heard the Prophet, then you're a companion. سمعت رسول الله. And this hadith, by the way, is narrated by both Shia and Sunni historians. He says, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقول يقتل ابني هذا. My son Hussein, this one, will be killed في أرض يقال لها كربلاء, in a land called Kerbala. فمن لحقه فلينصره. So whoever makes it to that land at the right time should defend him. Now, this is a man who's in anticipation. This is a man who's serious about the vow and the commitment he's made. He actively waits for the Imam to arrive. He makes his entire life revolve around the mission of defending Imam al-Hussein, because he heard the Prophet that if you make it to that day, then you should defend my grandson. So Al-Uryan says that we used to meet this man and he used to tell us this story. One day, many years later, we heard that a massacre had occurred in Kerbala and that Imam al-Hussein had been killed. فَقَالَ أَبِي لِنَذْهَبْ. My father said, let's rush to Kerbala. Let's see if we find this man. Because his hope, his entire life, was to make it to Kerbala. So we ran to Kerbala and we saw the bodies that were mutilated, and we went from body to body. وَإِذَا بِالْأَسَدِيِّ مَقْتُولٍ. And we found this man from Bani Asad. He was killed. That's a man who's on a mission. He's got a commitment. He needs to honor that commitment. And he makes it. Unlike the one who's waiting for the train and misses it by a minute. Who was this person? This person was Anas ibn Kahil al-Asadi. If you read the maqtal of Imam al-Hussein, like Al-Luhuf by Sayyid ibn Tawus, like Abi Mikhnaf, like the maqtal of Sheikh Abbas al-Qummi, which is one of the greatest maqtals, and I would encourage the youth to read it. It is available in English. If you read it, the story of this man is mentioned from this perspective, not the historical aspect, but from the perspective that he was one of the oldest people in Kerbala. He'd heard the Prophet, he was a companion. His father was a man known as from Ashab al-Suffah. And so he came, the Imam looked at him. He was so old and wrinkled that he needed a headband just to lift up his eyebrows so he can see. When he came to the Imam asking for permission, the Imam said to him, Rahimakallahu ya Shaykh, may Allah bless you, old man. What are you doing? Why are you here? He said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, inni sami'tu jaddaka Rasulallah yaqul. This is what brought me here. I heard a hadith from your grandfather. إن ابني هذا يقتل بأرض يقال لها كربلاء فمن لحقه فلينصره. This is why I'm here. One hadith from the Holy Messenger of Allah is what drove this man to his ultimate demise and martyrdom in Kerbala. One hadith gave him enough insight, enough inspiration, enough knowledge to make it to the list of the greatest martyrs in all of history. One hadith. He was the one who went into battle and he'd recite this epic. He would say, Alu aliyin shi'atul rahmani wa alu harbin shi'atul shaytani. The family of Ali are the partisans of God himself. And the family of Abu Sufyan, Harb was his actual name, are the followers of the shaitan. Right? That's it. This sums up his entire philosophy. That's all you need. No need to beat around the bush. No need to confuse yourself with complicated questions and convoluted arguments. No need to ask about every single thing in religion and everything has to make sense to me. Everything has to be logical, quote unquote. No need for all that. All you need is clear insight. All you need is a mission statement like this. He was dispatched by Imam al-Hussein just prior to the battle to negotiate with Umar ibn Sa'd. He stepped into his tent and he started talking without saying salam. Umar ibn Sa'd said to him, why didn't you say salam? Alastu musliman? Am I not a Muslim? He said, La wallah lasta musliman. In case you haven't figured it out, no, by God, you're not a Muslim. تقتل ابن بنت رسول الله وتزعم أنك مسلم. You claim to be a Muslim while you're killing the grandson of the Messenger of God, the founder of this religion? Get out of here. فنكس رأسه. Umar ibn Sa'd lowers his head in shame. This is one example. The other example, Anas ibn Kahil al-Asadi. Try and remember that name. The second one is a man by the name of Abdullah ibn Afif al-Azdi. This incident occurs after Ashura, when they take the women and children as captives towards Kufa. Allahu Akbar. Can you imagine, brothers and sisters? 50 years after the death of the Prophet, his own children, his own women, his own family are taken as captives. Usara. Zainab ibnatu Ali is taken as a captive. Zainul Abidin is taken as a prisoner of war, paraded around the nation to humiliate them. Some children came and approached these orphans of Imam al-Hussein. They were hungry, they were starving, and they put dates in their mouths. Lady Zainab rushed to them. She took the dates out and gave it back to them. They said, why do you do that? She said, don't you know that we are the family of Rasulullah? Sadaqah is haram for us. They said, wait, who are you? Usara'u man antum. You are the captives of which nation, which religion? She said, Nahnu usara'u ali Muhammad. We are the captives of the family of Rasulullah. That's who we are. So they're taken towards Kufa. Yazid had commanded Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad to parade them around Kufa for 3 days. And during that time, people would be pelting them with stones. They would be spitting at them. They would be humiliating the family of Rasulullah. But eventually, what was even worse than that is that they entered into the courtyard, into the court of Ibn Ziyad. They brought the severed head of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and placed it in a bowl in front of him. فأخذ الخيزران وكان ينكث به ثنايا أبي عبد الله. He took his stick and he began hitting the mouth and the lips of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Rubab, the wife of Imam al-Hussein, she jumped from where she was sitting. She held the head of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. She said, "How dare you do this? This is Abu Abdullah. This is Hussein ibn Ali." Ibn Arqam, who was a companion of Rasulullah, he said, "Wallah, stop doing this. Wallah, I have seen Rasulullah kiss those lips. How dare you do this?" Then Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad got up and began to deliver a sermon. He said, "Alhamdulillah alladhi fadahakum وكذب أعجوبتكم. He said, "Thank God, praise to God for exposing you and for belying the innovation that you had made. والحمد لله الذي نصر أمير المؤمنين. Praise be to Allah for granting victory to the commander of the faithful, meaning Yazid ibn Muawiyah, على الكذاب ابن الكذاب الحسين ibn Ali. Gave him victory against the liar, the son of the liar, Al-Hussein, the son of Ali." This tyrant, drunk with power, drunk with victory, drunk with disbelief in everything Imam al-Hussein stood for, and drunk with wine as well. No one dared stand up. No one dared to say anything except an elderly man. A man stood up. He said, "Al-Kadhab ibn al-Kadhab anta wa abuk wa man wallahu wa abuh." Do you know who the liar is? It's not Hussein and his father. You are the liar. Your father is the liar. As well as the one who appointed you. He's the liar, meaning Yazid. And his father is the liar, meaning Muawiyah. أتقتل أبناء الأنبياء وتتحدث بهذا على منابر المسلمين? How dare you kill the grandson of the prophets of God, then get on the pulpit of the messenger and say these things? Say these to us Muslims? Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, like I said, was a tyrant of the most vile caliber. He could never stand have someone humiliate him like this, let alone an old man. And so he said, "Who was this?" He said, I am. Abdullah ibn Afif al-Azdi. I'm the one who said this. I'm not hiding from you. He said, "Get him, kill him right now." His tribe revolted. The tribe of Bani Azd, they said, "No, we're not going to let you kill him. He's an old man and he's also blind." Subhanallah. Brothers and sisters, sometimes you can be blind but see the truth better than anyone who can see. Anyone. They said, "We won't let you touch him." So Ubaidullah realized that this was a tense situation. It needed to be calmed down, needed to be diffused. So he said, "All right, leave him." When everyone left, he then sent a contingent. He said, "Go to his house and bring him to me, dead or alive." So they came to his house. Long story short, he only had one young daughter. Didn't have any sons to fight for him, to protect him. And he's a blind man. How does he fight these people who are there to kill him? His daughter was the one telling him, "Abba, they just approached from the right hand. Father, they just approached from the left hand." What was happening to this daughter, I have no idea. بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله. What happened to Sukaina? What happened to Ruqayya on the day of Ashura? The girl would give her father directions and he would do his best to defend himself, but eventually he was outnumbered, so they took him. They took him to the palace of Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. When Ubaidullah saw him, he said, "Ya Abdullah ibn Afif, إنك مقتول هذا اليوم." You should know that today you're going to die. How dare you humiliate me like this in front of everyone? So Abdullah ibn Afif said to him, he said, "Subhanallah, I always yearned for martyrdom. I wanted to die in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so I joined Amir al-Mu'mineen in the battle of Jamal. But I wasn't killed, but I did lose an eye. Then I joined Amir al-Mu'mineen in the battle of Siffin, and while I wasn't killed, I lost my other eye. So I lost hope in becoming a martyr, because how could a blind man go and fight in the battlefield? And now I thank Allah for granting me my wish and my desire, and answering قديم دعائي, my old prayer, to die as a martyr. And you know what else? I've also asked Allah, أن يكون قتلي على يد ألعن الناس. I prayed that my death would come at the hand of the most accursed person on the face of the planet. So thank you, Allah, for granting my wish. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad said, take him, kill him, crucify him, behead him, and have him hanging on the door, on the gate of the city of Kufa. But where is Abdullah ibn Afif al-Azdi now? And where is Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad? Where is Imam al-Hussein? And where is Yazid today? Brothers and sisters, I'll mention one more story and wrap up. I do apologize. And that's the story of the ambassador, the Roman ambassador to the Muslim nation. This man who was sitting next to Yazid ibn Muawiyah, alayhi la'a'inullah. When they brought the severed head, he noticed that everyone was in jubilation, everyone was in festivities, and everyone was happy. So he said to Yazid, whose head is this? He said, don't worry about it. He said, no, I'd like to know so I can write back to the Roman emperor so that we would join you in your festivities. He said, هذا رأس الحسين ibn Fatima. This is the head of Hussein, the son of Fatima. So the Roman ambassador knew a little bit, and he was a Christian. He knew a little bit about the history of Islam. He said, wait a second. Are you talking about Al-Hussein ibn Fatima bint Muhammad, the daughter of your messenger? He said, yes, but what's that to you? He said, لَعَنَكَ اللَّهُ وَلَعَنَ دِينَكَ. May God curse you and curse your religion, whatever it is you believe in. I am a Christian man. I am a descendant of one of the disciples of Jesus. You should see how my people treat me. You should see how they venerate me. You should see how they kiss my hands and my feet. And yet this is the grandson of your own prophet, and this is how you treat him? This is how you repay your messenger? May God curse you and your religion. Yazid, this drunkard, couldn't take it. So he said, have him killed, as well as just like you killed Hussein and his companions. So he jumped at the head of Abu Abdullah. He embraced it. He said, now my dream makes sense. Last night I saw this dream which didn't make any sense to me. I saw your messenger come to me in my dream and saying, tomorrow you will be my guest. I'm a Christian man. How am I going to be the guest of Rasulullah? أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله فقتل وهو يحتضن رأس الحسين. They have said he was killed while embracing the head of Abu Abdullah. Now I ask this Roman ambassador, this Christian man, I say to him, you had never seen Imam al-Hussein, and yet this is how you were captivated by him. You had never spent time with him, and yet this is how you were infatuated by him. What do you think was happening to Sukaina and Ruqayya when they saw the severed head of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? When she said, Aba laytani كنت عمياء ولم أرى رأسك الشريف. I wish I were blind so that I would never see you in the state. أبا She saw the severed head of Abu Abdullah. For the first time, she had someone to complain to. Over the last few weeks, she was beaten all along. Every time she called for her father, they would whip her, they would beat her. I don't know if you saw this, but just a couple of Days ago, there was a video that went viral online with a father beating his daughter. The way he was beating his daughter was so savage, was so brutal. Anyone who saw the video would curse that man. And yet, the first thing that came to my mind was this. I said, this man is drunk. But at the end of the day, he's her father. This is how he's beating her. Imagine how those vile creatures were beating the orphans of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون يا حسين
يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين کربلا کا قافلہ جا رہا ہے کربلا کا قافلہ جا رہا ہے کا قافلہ جا رہا ہے کربلا قافلہ جو محرم سے تھی رونق آئے وہ رخصت ہوئی کہہ رہی ہے تازیہ خانہ کی دھیمی روشنی اب اندھیرا پا رہا ہے کربلا کا قافلہ جا رہا ہے کربلا کا قافلہ جا رہا ہے کربلا کا قافلہ لے چلا ہے ساتھی اپنے عظمت قرآن کی کیا بتائے کچھ نہ خدمت کر سکے مہمان کی قلب کو تڑپا رہا ہے کربلا کا قافلہ جا رہا ہے کربلا قافلہ جا رہا ہے قافلہ روشنی بجھنے کو ہے تاریکی آنے کو ہے فضل دل ٹوٹے ہوئے ہیں تازیہ جانے کو ہے تربتیں بنوا رہا ہے کربلا کا قافلہ جا رہا ہے کربلا کا قافلہ جا رہا ہے کربلا قافلہ چھلکے ہوئے ہیں آنسو آنکھوں کے جام لے لو آقا سلام لے لو مولا سلام لے لو آقا سلام لے لو مولا سلام لے لو چھلکے ہوئے ہیں آنسو آنکھوں کے جام لو حسرت کے صبح لے لو غربت کی شام لے لو ہر صاحب عزا کا مولا سلام لے لو ٹوٹے ہوئے دلوں کا مڑ کر سلام لے لو آقا سلام لے لو مولا سلام لے لو آقا سلام لے لو مولا سلام لے لو چھلکے ہوئے آنسو کیونکہ عباس کے علم کی یاد آئے گی نشانی پانی تو گر چکا ہے ٹکڑے غم سے سینہ آنسو بہا رہا ہے مشکیزہ سکینہ
का सलाम ले लो मौला सलाम ले लो ले लो मौला सलाम ले लो चल के है आंसू मौला सलाम ले बेकैफ जिंदगी है मौला सलाम ले लो अब खत्म रोशनी है मौला सलाम ले लो हर शमा के रही है मौला सलाम ले लो आका सलाम ले लो मौला सलाम ले लो आका सलाम ले लो मौला सलाम ले लो चल के हुए हैं आंसू लो हुसैन शहीद करबला ववेला शहीद करबला ववेला आयात बदश्त करबला ववेला ईद करबला ववेला हुसैन इमाम मजलूम ववेला करबला ववेला हुसैन कातिल الأشقياء ववेला وويلا عباس ألم دارم تشد وويلا كربلا وويلا أكبر نوجوان تشد وويلا شهيد كربلا وويلا قاسم نوجوان تشد وويلا شهيد كربلا وويلا أصغر شرخارم تشد وويلا وویلا آخر کا وقت کہنا میرا یہ کلام ہے سب عاشق حسین کو میرا سلام ہے رکشیوں کو آباد صدا اپنے کرم سے کرتا زیے داروں کو رہا رنج و علم سے سوال
السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله السلام عليك يا وارث نوح نبي الله السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام ولي الله السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونحيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سميت بذلك فرزيت به يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها وأشهد أنك من دائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرزي الزكي الحادي المهدي وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وعلام الهدى والأروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله عني بكم مؤمن وبيا بكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وعمري لعمركم متبع صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد السلام عليك أيها الشهيد السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم لعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سميت بذلك فرزيت به السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباه. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأوداه. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة السيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الزكي الناصح. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا أديما. فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن السيد الوسيين. السلام عليك يا ابن أول القوم إسلاما وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأخوتهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك فنعم الأخ المواسي. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام. فنعم الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر والأخ الدافع الأخي المجيب إلى طاعة ربه الراغب فيما زهد فيه غير من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل. وألحقك الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليك يا عباد الله والأرواح التي الذي فنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعل الله آخر الأحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء سلطان الحسن علي بن موسى رضا. كن شفيعنا وشفيع